Hello there. On Friday, Martin Scorcese's new film, The Killers of the Flower Moon, came out, and of course I was there to see it on opening night. It's a historical drama that follows the story of a native tribe called the Osage. They were blessed when an oil geyser erupted on their land and made their tribe independently wealthy, some of the richest people in the world. Until one day the white man came. More specifically, Ernest Buckhart, a World War I veteran who is returning home to live with his uncle, King Bill Hale. Ernest starts driving a cab, but soon meets a lovely Osage woman named Molly. The two quickly get married and start a family. But murder is afoot. In the background, there is a murder mystery. Someone has been killing off the Osage to consolidate their oil rights. The screenplay was written by Eric Roth and Martin Scorsese and was based on a book by David Gran. The book is based on a true story. The film was directed by Scorsese and stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Lily Gladstone, and Robert De Niro, as well as a large cast of big names in small roles. The visual journey follows Ernest through his life with Molly in the Midwest. We see them going to cultural events with the Osage tribe, see him interact with different members of his extended family, and watch as he meets directly with Bill Hale and his employees. He also spends a good bit of time taking care of Molly. In the background, we get little infographics about the Osage people and cutaways and flashbacks to different murders of the tribe's people. The story takes place in the 1920s, and the sets and environments are dolled up to match that aesthetic. There are a few grand set pieces, lots of great outdoor visuals, and there is a ton of old footage used as well. Music comes in the form of old Western instrumentals in both native folk music and local bluegrass. It attempts to create a periodic atmosphere using music, and every once in a while it tries to push an emotion. On the positive side, this film is absolutely gorgeous. The landscapes and sets are lit wonderfully, and the characters are framed in a way that draws your eyes right to them. They include some wonderful shots of the actors, and there are some cinematic moments. The cast also did an amazing job. General cast is filled with people putting on accents, done up in makeup, and putting on their best impression of a Western character. A lot of them do a wonderful job of building out the greater world and supporting the leads. There are also a number of big standout performances in the film. Leonardo DiCaprio is Ernest, Lily Gladstone is Molly, and Robert De Niro is King Bill Hale. Each of them does a fantastic job of bringing gravitas to their character, but each of them shines in their own unique way for these roles. Leonardo DiCaprio plays a simple-minded fool. His character gets manipulated by just about everybody in the story, and he isn't that nice of a person. His one redeeming feature is how much he loves his wife Molly, and DiCaprio plays that element perfectly. For the rest of the time, DiCaprio nails the confused, out-of-place look that Ernest has, and he does wonderfully with the big emotions during the final act, especially during the jail scene with Jesse Plemons. Lily Gladstone plays Ernest's wife Molly. Her character is one of the Osage tribe's people who's under attack by a mysterious assailant. Molly goes through quite a bit of trauma throughout the story, and Gladstone plays each of the emotional outbursts in a unique and meaningful way. You can feel the pain and anger coursing out of her from the performance. She has good chemistry with the other actors as well as a lot of screen presence. Robert De Niro plays King Bill Hale. He's a slimy man who chooses his words carefully while always manipulating the situation to his advantage. He gets his claws into Ernest early in the film and spends his time pretending to care for him. De Niro does a fantastic job of making your skin crawl whenever he's around and giving you someone to hate. Other notable mentions for this film include Jesse Plemons, Ty Mitchell, and Cara Jade Myers. The visual journey includes some amazing visuals that are definitely worth seeing. Shots of beautiful landscape scenery, amazing sets that replicate the look and feel of a Western town, and great cinematography at different points throughout the film. There are endless shots of the Midwest plains, rolling hills, fields of flowers, and different locations in and around the town. They make fantastic use of them to have big dramatic conversations, and they employ long one-take shots of the actors in them. We get to see detailed performances that capture every nuance, reaction, and subconscious thought of the actors. There are even a few action moments throughout the film that are fairly brutal and impactful. There's a huge explosion, and we see the mutilated corpses of some of the victims after they're shot and stabbed to death too. Now that I've been over the positives, I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. The writing is really bad. The characters aren't well introduced. The story is told out of order and in the most complex manner possible, and there isn't anyone to root for. Ernest is a bad person with only a single redeeming quality. Bill Hale is a slimeball, and Molly is mostly just a victim. She doesn't have much agency in the story until the end, and even then it's like the film is going out of its way to cut her parts. It's utterly confusing because of the manner in which it's told, and it isn't exciting because you don't care about any of the victims, most of whom are random members of the tribe you've never met. The murder mystery is left as an afterthought throughout the story, and they reveal all the answers about an hour into the film only to rehash everything they already told you in a reveal at the end anyway. The best you can hope for is that someone is brought to justice. It might be true to history, but the movie just doesn't give you a reason to care. There are no heroes. There's no compelling villain, and even the kills are exceptionally boring. They're over in seconds and most of them happen off screen. The music always sits at one extreme or another. It's way too quiet and has almost no effect on the scene, or it's way too loud and competing with the dialogue. The music they use is all Western guitar instrumentals or folk music, and some of it works well, but a lot of it just kind of exists. On top of that, the dialogue is poorly recorded for most of the film. I was constantly struggling to make out what the characters were saying because they were speaking into their chest while mumbling. They also had ambient noise effects like the crackling of fire or a bug in the background, and it was often loud enough to compete with the dialogue. A lot of the film feels straight up empty in terms of flavor, and it felt like a real missed opportunity. Sometimes because of their failure to mix the volume properly, and sometimes because there just wasn't any music. The visual journey is hard to follow because of the way they chopped up the story. It skips long periods of time between scenes, doesn't do a good job of tracking time or space, and they're constantly introducing infographics, flashbacks, and cutaways without setting them up first. You have no idea what you're looking at, or why it matters. It's possible to piece everything together later, but it doesn't feel good while watching it. Overall, I found the movie to be long and pointless. There was a good story in there, and they even had some great visuals and actors to tell it with, but they just didn't tell the story in a clear and succinct manner. It was confusing. I didn't like the characters at all, and they didn't even make a big deal out of the mystery. If you like amazing Midwestern visuals or needlessly complex puzzles, you might enjoy this film. If you're like me and you need some reason to care, give this a pass. There isn't one. It's just a feel-bad movie with lots of wasted time. 4 out of 10. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Bye-bye!